I've been using the iPad Pro since the first ever version. It was powerful, it allowed me to draw digitally, undoing more mistakes than I could care to think about. But how useful is the iPad Pro nearly 8 years on? I think the iPad Pro is great for anyone wanting to go digital with their drawings. So in this video, I'm going to show you all the ways that I use the iPad Pro on a nearly daily basis and why it could be a perfect fit for you and your design workflow. Okay, so the most obvious reason for getting the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, the largest one, with the Apple Pencil is the ability to draw. The apps I mainly use are Procreate, which is great for customizing and designing your own brushes, and Adobe Fresco. Fresco is basically Procreate, but in some areas it excels. For instance, guides and rulers. To draw straight lines in Procreate, you draw your straight line and you hold. This works for shapes as well. That will automatically generate you that shape in a perfect way. So that's great when you're wanting to feel a bit more free when drawing, but not so great when you want precision in your work. Because I design logo types, I need precision. If you would like to learn logo type design, click the link down below. Logo launch, it's available now. And Adobe Fresco has guide shapes and a virtual ruler. This makes designing precise logos and drafting a lot easier and more intuitive than Procreate. So I use Adobe Fresco when I need more precision in my sketching. The iPad Pro 12.9 inch display is amazing when sketching. The large display feels right at home. Using anything smaller will be less comfortable. Note-taking on the iPad Pro is a given. If you want to go paperless, then the iPad Pro has many apps for taking notes easier. The best apps that I've found are Evernote and Notability. These apps allow you to write notes, draw doodles around them, and make them look pretty, even turn them into text files to share via email. This feature is great, but personally, if I'm taking notes, I tend to do them on post-it notes or type them out on a computer. As a designer and a creative director in our design agency, I do a lot of idea generation. The iPad makes it much freer than the standard paper or even a standard computer. Apps like FigJam work brilliantly on the iPad for collaborative whiteboarding or even researching for videos and client projects. If you're big on these types of things, then the iPad Pro is a good shout. Okay, so the Apple Pencil. It's absolutely amazing at drawing digitally. It gives you the creative freedom in apps like Procreate and Adobe Fresco to draw beautiful illustrations, but does it do anything else just as well or as functionally? Well, the answer is kind of. I've been using Adobe Illustrator on the iPad more and more lately. There's something about using the pencil tool to draw shapes on the iPad. It's easier than using other vector programs, and the quality of the smooth lines is just amazing. Now, the only problem I used to face with the iPad is drawing on that beautiful glass display. It feels too glassy. Well, for over 5 years, I've been using Paperlike, who was sponsoring today's video. The Paperlike screen protector is premium and matte, and best of all, it sounds like paper. It's easy to install with all the guide stickers they give you. It just feels so satisfying to draw on. It feels more like paper than it ever could. And not only that, but they now have a Pro Bundle. When they reached out for the sponsorship, I didn't exactly think the Pro Bundle would be the star of the show, but I was wrong. The Pro Bundle offers the Paperlike screen protector, 2 of them are included, 2 rubber Apple Pencil grips, which was surprisingly comfortable, and this neat cleaning kit. The cleaning kit is great. You take it out of the case, spray it on your iPad, then use the microfiber cloth on the spray to clean your screen. It gets rid of all that oil buildup from using the iPad over a period of time. Not only that, I asked politely for their folio case. It's the best case I've had for the iPad Pro, and it has replaced the keyboard case I used to use, which was $300. It was expensive. It's premium and attaches with magnets, but best of all, it has this flap. This is what holds the Apple Pencil in place. My pencil always used to fall off when moving around and traveling to and from the office, so having this case has given me a peace of mind when traveling to and from the studio with my iPad. If you'd like the Paperlike Pro Bundle with everything but the folio case included, then visit the link in the description and get a free digital Pro Planner with all hardware orders made before September 17th. Okay, one thing that Apple does well is Sidecar. This is where you can mirror the Mac screen to your iPad. It becomes a touchscreen. This is by far one of my favorite features of the iPad. If you're like me and still mask the old-fashioned way using an airbrush, then the iPad acts as a Wacom Cintiq. It works so well, and even on slow internet connections, it doesn't really affect the speed of me working. If you need to use the desktop version of Photoshop, but you're looking for a companion that's able to be standalone, the iPad Pro gives you that functionality. Sidecar can also be used as a second monitor. That's great when watching videos whilst working, or even when you need to show something on your computer screen without everyone gathering around you and breathing down your neck. You can just bring your monitor with you. This feature is a no-brainer for me. I use it all the time when working in Photoshop. So usually I would get the new iPad Pro every year because there's nearly always some amazing update to it. This past year, however, there hasn't been any major update to the iPad other than adding the M2 chip and a hover feature with the Apple Pencil. This wasn't enough for me to purchase the M2 iPad Pro. I didn't feel like most of the apps I could use can harness the power of the M1, let alone the M2. That's power overkill in my opinion. You don't need it. So if I was to recommend any graphic designers for an iPad Pro out there, I would opt for the M1 iPad Pro from I think 2021 with the M1 chip in. Now if you're looking for the iPad to replace your Mac or MacBook, as a graphic designer, then you'll be disappointed. The iPad Pro is great at what it does, but it really doesn't replace your MacBook by any means. The software within the apps isn't there yet. We have Adobe Illustrator on the iPad, but it's not the full version. It's a great companion app to be used when wanting to get your hands dirty, but you'll be hard pressed to complete a lot of tasks if you only use the iPad. For instance, it's still difficult to install the fonts you want. There's no plugins for Illustrator, so I can't use plugins like the Logo Package Express for exporting logos, link in the description. Copy and pasting from Adobe Illustrator to Photoshop and vice versa on the iPad isn't really available yet. These apps don't really talk to each other enough through any dynamic links. What I'm saying is this: the iPad Pro is a great companion and addition to your tech arsenal if you're a graphic designer in the Apple ecosystem. But it won't replace your MacBook Pro anytime soon. Okay, let's round up this how I use / review video. The iPad Pro 12.9 inch is a great experience for consuming media, but it's arguably just as good of an experience for creating. Digital drawing in apps now are crazy good, allowing you to create wild illustrations and giving you unparalleled freedom whilst generating ideas. Using the iPad Pro is great for me and could be great for those who draw a ton or take a bunch of notes for the project. If you enjoyed this video, then check out this video here where I use the iPad to make surprisingly good logos from terrible sketches. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed it on the way out.